Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. This one is a draft that I've put together which has Salah and Palmer in it. It also has Isak in it. So it's a 3 premium draft, no Haaland, but it does have Salah, Palmer and Isak. So we'll get into that in a second. But first, Fantasy Football Hub have a really cool pre-season offer on. All sorts of good stuff on Fantasy Football Hub. I use their stats for pretty much all of my videos and anything FPL wise. They've got articles and cool people on there. They've got the AI system where you can put your team in and it will give you a rating. It will give you recommended transfers throughout the season based on that AI tool as well. And the cool offer they've got on at the moment is that if you sign up and then you don't win your mini league, you get your money back. T's and C's do apply, but check the link in the video to kind of make use of that offer. But anyway, let's get straight into the draft now. We'll start with the goalkeepers. I won't spend too long on this because it's a pretty boring part of it. I posted a draft a couple days ago, which is my first draft since the game launched. Same goalkeepers since. The actual players don't matter too much. All that matters is the price points really. Kelleher at 4.5 million. That could be Verbruggen, that could be Areola. I just like the 4.5 million price bracket. Then Bentley on the bench again. We could be looking at Carl Darlow. Carl Darlow is potentially going to be Leeds number 1. If they don't sign a new goalkeeper and if they don't fancy using Ilhan Meslier. So whoever that 4 million goalkeeper is, it won't matter too much. Whoever that 4.5 million is, it won't matter too much. But that's the kind of structure around it anyway. Right, on to the more interesting bits now. So defenders. Now I've got Gabriel in there, I've got Gvardiol in there. As you'll have seen if you watched my video a couple of days ago of my first draft, I love these premium centre-backs. I think they're priced pretty cheap given that they should be getting more points now because they've got defensive contributions. The bonus point changes help them out as well. However, there are some really nice 4.5 million options. And if we're going Salah, Palmer and Isak, we can't afford a load of expensive defenders. But Gabriel and Gvardiol stay. I think it's mainly due to how nailed they are and their attacking threat. This could be Van Dijk. I do prefer Gabriel to Saliba. But yeah, Van Dijk could be in here instead of one of them. But however you look at it, a couple of premium defenders. Then we've got a doggy at 4.5 million. I think he's priced quite cheaply. Given how attacking he is, I mean, we've seen over the last few seasons how much he gets forward. Although that was under Ange Postecoglou. Maybe things will change now under Thomas Frank. Albeit his fullbacks are, his team setup in general is pretty attacking. But his fullbacks are also pretty attacking. Another 4.5 million player on the bench is Konza. Now, a couple of the teams that have really good fixtures to start the season are Aston Villa, Tottenham, West Ham, Chelsea. So you will see a few players from those teams in here. I really like Konza just because of these defensive contribution changes. So you get points for tackles, clearances, interceptions and blocks. As a defender, if you get 10 of those in a game, then you get 2 points. And Konza, firstly, he's pretty nailed in that Aston Villa team, which is obviously paramount when you're picking a cheap defender. Unless they've got loads of attacking threat, you want them to definitely be nailed. And Aston Villa have some really nice fixtures to start the season, as I say. Now, again, like with the goalkeepers, this 4 million defender, Esteve, probably not how you pronounce his name, but he played quite a lot for Burnley last season, so he'll potentially be a playing option. And again, it's kind of like there's a lot more players to pick from this season, because last season you'd pick a 4 million defender from a promoted team and you'd expect basically no points all season, whereas now they can get these defensive contributions. Obviously the promoted teams will probably be on the back foot quite a lot and be defending a lot. That leads to a lot of these defensive contributions like clearances, tackles. So having these cheap players on the bench is actually not a bad play anymore. Their floor is a little bit higher. It used to be basically 2 points every week or most weeks. Now there is potential that they can just get 4 points even in the tougher games. But like I say, this is more a placeholder. Don't know too much about a lot of the 4 million defenders at the moment. It will become clearer when we have pre-season games. But this is kind of the structure. 2 6 million defenders, 2 4.5 and 1 4 million defender. Let's get onto the midfielders now. Okay, midfielders. Now, as I mentioned, this is a Salah and Palmer draft. And as I also mentioned, Chelsea have some really nice fixtures to start the season. So I do like starting with Palmer. If you watched my video a couple of days ago, then I did have Palmer in that draft. I think that he did get off the boil a little bit during last season, but we saw in the Club World Cup that he is absolutely on it now. So I do like starting with him given their fixtures. I don't mind his price either. I did think he'd come in at maybe 11 million or 11.5 even. 10.5 is pretty nice. Considering Salah is 14.5, I do think that's quite a lot. I guess you'd expect him to be quite a lot given that he was the highest scorer and he absolutely blew away everyone else last season. So you would expect him to be high. Obviously, he's high for a reason. He's going to score lots of points. It's just whether he is worth that price for what you can get elsewhere. But this draft does have both of them in. It has Kudos. Now, I spoke about him in the video the other day. I mentioned it earlier as well. I really like Tottenham's fixtures. I think Kudos and Tell in particular, I think they're both 6.5 million. That seems like a really nice price for both of them. Now, obviously, we don't know if he's definitely going to start. Kudos obviously plays most of his football on the right wing, which is where Brennan Johnson plays. And Brennan Johnson was in kind of some nice form towards the end of last season. So there is no kind of, it's not definite that he will start. However, fantastic footballer. I do think they've actually got a bargain as well at 55 million, I think it was. So I really like starting with him. Or, like I say, Tell. If he's more likely to get minutes, then start with him instead. But I just think they're priced nicely given their fixtures. Now we've got Rice on the other side. He's one I'm not too sure on. You could go Rodri here. Obviously, with the defensive contributions, these players are likely to get more points now. I mean, Rice, when he was at West Ham, of course, he was interceptions, blocks, tackles. He'd have hit that so many times. At Arsenal, it's a little bit different. He does have license to go forward a little bit more. He's also on some corners, so it's not a case where he's just going to be getting 2 points and then potentially the defensive contributions. He takes free kicks as well. We saw that in the Champions League last season. Pretty good at them. And he's on corners, like I say. And from corners, Arsenal are pretty dominant with Gabriel and Saliba. So he does have quite a lot of routes to points. I just wouldn't expect kind of massive hauls most weeks. But I guess he's priced for that at 6.5 million. Then on the bench, you've got Devaney from Palace. That, again, that could be any 4.5 million midfielder. It's more a placeholder. There may come a 4.5 million midfielder that stands out closer to the season starting, but for now I've just put Devaney in. He got some minutes last season. Could be anyone. He'll be last on the bench most weeks anyway. So now let's get into the front three. Right, the forwards actually exactly the same as they were in my video the other day. Fulkrug, I think, so it's going a little bit under the radar. If West Ham signed another striker, then he becomes pretty useless. But 6 million is very cheap, given that if you look at the midfielder options and look at the forward options, there really isn't much from 6 million down. They've priced everyone quite well, so that it's hard to find a budget kind of enabler. I think that Fulkrug can be that guy. I mean, in this team, you can rotate Konza in. Sometimes you'll play Konza and Udogie and won't need to play Fulkrug, which is fine. I mean, the same with Rice potentially. All those four, you just bench one of them each week. But if West Ham don't sign another striker, then it will be Fulkrug and Bowen up top. And I just think at 6 million, that's a pretty good price. Their fixtures are good to start the season as well. But like I say, it all does depend on whether another striker is signed. Then we've got Solanke. I've talked about Spurs a lot in this video. Fixtures are great. We may, I don't quite know if this will be true or not, but there is potential that firstly Son will leave. Secondly, there's potential that Son gets slightly less minutes this season. We'll have to see how that pans out. If it does pan out that way, then Solanke could be on penalties when Son's not on the pitch, which may be more this season. So that's one thing to kind of note. And at 7.5 million, he seems like he's priced pretty nicely as well. Isak, 10.5 million. Now, he's not someone you have to start with necessarily. Also, it depends. It kind of looks like he's going to stay at Newcastle now, but who knows where he'll be at the end of the summer. If he's still at Newcastle, I do think he's really good. They've signed Elanga, and Elanga's got, I think he's third in assists for the last 2 seasons. That will help Isak a lot. I do think Newcastle will be good this season. They've bought well. and I think they'll continue to buy well. They've got a nice deep squad, and we just know what Isak can do. He's absolutely class. So that's the team. I think if you were going to downgrade and look to upgrade other places, I do think Isak is probably the place you'd downgrade. You could go down to Watkins potentially, who's priced pretty cheaply. You could even go down to someone like Evan Nilsson potentially. Then you could upgrade Rice or Kudos to someone a bit more expensive. You could go up to the likes of Eze. You could maybe even find a way to go up to someone like Bruno Fernandes. More of the kind of mid-price midfielder. But yeah, I kind of like this draft. Let me know what you think in the comments. Obviously, do check out Fantasy Football Hub in the description. But for now, that's all, and I'll see you in the next one.